Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Words with Al. And in this episode, we are going to look at the journey of the idea or the word ra. So, this sound cluster, this monosyllable, would lay the foundation for very many new words for mankind, especially the Indo European and the Semitic group. Yes, we will see that. And this is just another journey into what initiated um, this journey was actually the etymology of the word right. So I was looking for the word right and where it came from, and then I managed to find where it came from. Its entire origin, and it takes us back to Egypt. So this word right, it comes from Egypt. Yes, and we will now see how we did that, and we're only able to decipher this because of the Albanian language. So the Albanian language is now acting as a link between the old languages and the new. Yes, that is what it is doing, and we will now see why and how. But in addition to that, we are also going to see, we're going to see quite a lot of things, but let's go on. I'm not going to interpret it too much for you, but I'm going to show you how the development of language equals the development, our cognitive development. So our language and our cognition are tied. They're tied together. And this whole development began as the ego was growing. So the psychological self. We did not have a psychological self. We did not have an ego back in the old days. That had to be developed. Okay. And that came with the language, or so it seems. Probably much later, but yes, with language as well. I don't know what comes first, but we can discover it together. So let's begin with the basics. The phonetic cluster ra. As I said in the previous videos, it has the rolling r and the a, ra, ra, or just ra. And we get then the flowing r, and then the open a, an expansive and bright a. And then we get these type of phonosemantic shapes. Okay, but that's not the only thing we will be looking at. So I've made this into a research paper. So I will send this to universities and academia so they can look at it. Because as I said, I'm not really interested in I'm not really interested in this. Is not I'm not doing this for myself. I have no self interest in this, except that I really want to know what happened to us as as mankind, as man and woman. Yeah, as man and woman. That is what we are. So this research paper explores the semantic development of the ra sound cluster and its derivatives ra, re, ri, re, ro, ru, ru. Okay, very difficult to do all of them right after each other. But across the spectrum of linguistic and cultural traditions, from ancient Egypt through Albanian, Greek, Latin, Germanic, Norse, and into English. Yes. Using the lens of general to specific semantic evolution, the paper demonstrates how this phonetic root began with abstract and primordial meanings, radiance, movement, and life force, and then transformed into specific terms associated with rule, regulation, performance, and social structure. The study positions Ra as a cognitive and cultural axis around which meaning crystallized across Indo-European and Afro-Asiatic civilizations. Yes. Introduction. Language is not merely a system of communication, but a reflection of how early humans conceptualized their world. Root sounds clusters, syllables like ra, often carry vast semantic weight. These roots emerged from primal associations with physical phenomena like light and motion, and over time were refined to match the increasing cognitive and social complexity of human society. The raw cluster is one such example, beginning as a signifier of light or energy and evolving into a scaffold of abstract systems like justice, kingship, rhythm, and permanence. This paper tracks the historical, linguistic, and cognitive trajectory of the Ra phonetic cluster, showing how a general semantic root diversified as civilization began segmenting really into more distinct categories. Yes, it was segmenting reality. Sorry, I have this little box right over there, so I can't read that text, but I can. So this is the theory. We begin with general ideas. We realize light, darkness, falling, space. We realize some ideas: life, breath, or heartbeat, energy, fire, and then these would travel and lay the foundation for other words that would come from these ideas, because these ideas carry a lot of meaning or can be divided into meaning more things. For instance, like fire can be divided as being hot and then dangerous and then light, right? Because from fire, from the idea of fire, we get very many other semantics. Yeah, that is how, that was just an example of how language develops. Yeah, or how it has developed. So from general to specific theory. Okay, this is my theory. Nobody knows this theory because nobody has uttered it. But now I have. And I am, as I said, no one. The only reason why I can do this work is really because I speak all the Scandinavian languages, the Germanic, not all, but most. I can understand them and I can read them. And then I speak English. And then I speak Albanian. So I have like the whole journey in me because I know those languages. So I know that Albanian will then become Germanic, and then Germanic will become the Scandinavians, and the Scandinavians would mix again with the Anglo Saxons, who had already mixed with the Romans, which were also Albanian speaking. So this, so Albanian, the Albanian speaking group, the North and the South. The South went to Italy, and the North went north, and then they met again. But that was much later, right? So that they had then become distinct people and unrelated in a sense, but they still spoke the same language. You will see. Yes, so let's go back now. So the general to specific theory of semantic evolution posits that earlier languages used root sounds to represent broad intuitive experiences, states of being, natural forces, and spiritual impressions. As civilization matured, these intuitive roots became increasingly differentiated and specific, often institutionalized through written language, law, and religion. Okay, very important. Ra is likely began as a vocal mimicry of something radiant or rhythmic. Ra, ra, right? In its earliest use, it encapsulated life energy or divine motion. Ra, poof, right? Or just when the sun was rising, ra, very slow, right? Because how you pronounce something was also important. So a ra and a ra were different, right? Although the phonetic structure is the same. But this was very difficult to encapsulate through writing, which is how we got more or different words. They just split or made new words. It was easier to make new words than to signify that difference in pronunciation. But the other people, some other people did, some other civilizations did. The Chinese, the Mandarin did. They managed to encapsulate that. They did not make new words. They just decided the vowel or how something was pronounced, that would signify a difference. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so in its earliest use, it encapsulated life energy or divine motion. The sound itself, open, resonant, energetic, became a natural phonetic container for ideas related to the sun, light, rise, rain, and well, I don't can't see the last one there, but it says and motion. Okay, something like that. Okay, it doesn't matter, but you can read it. Okay, so this is a big table here that I tried to make. It took me quite a long time, as you can see, but it shows us so much. Okay, you have no idea how much this shows us, and I tried to fit it into this PowerPoint, but it was almost impossible. So either the camera, my face will be compromised now, or this text. But my face is not so important. The text is, because what we want to know is this development. What happened? Okay. So as you can see here, we begin with the ancient Egyptian Ra, sun god radiance. Okay, that is what it begins with, and that's the only thing that we know. Well, well, we should probably know more. But so we have then this sound, this idea, this sun, okay? And this sun would then create, this Ra sound would then create Ra, Re, Re, Ri, Re, Ro, Ra, Ru, Ru. There you go. Okay. Very, very difficult. But all of them would pertain to the same idea from the sun, and then create the matrix through which we then get the words fall, a metaphor for sun rays, ra, to strike, re, new or again, to re, which means to hit. Re means to hit, and that's where we get rule and rector and regale. These are Latin words, but they come from re. Okay, re. To re something means to hit someone, to beat him, to dominate him. Okay, so when someone was hitting or was a re, a reg, rex, he was someone who was using power. He was someone who was hitting and dominating people. Yeah, that is what he was. Which is why we get the word regulate, regula, rectus, rect, regulate, rectify, and so on and so forth in Latin, that is. So the Latin here pretty much is a later form than the Albanian. You can see that the Albanian has the shortest monosyllables in Europe in European languages. Okay, for all words, pretty much all words come from these roots. Well, in Europe, that is. Because now we see that this re would become, well, this is not it, to flow. This reo would is further down. In fact, it is here in these parts, because that is where we also get room, room, reo, room, and rhythm. And rhythmos, this is where this Greek comes. Risa, root again. Rope, strength. Rope, rope. Rumai, rumai. Defend me. Well, that is what it means in Albanian. Rumai, rumu. Rumu. And then you have ruma, yes, flow. So this is the thing. I've asked ChatGPT to do this because this will take me forever. Okay, so I can't do this for every word and for every language, and then figure out the time that they were were emerged or came into being. It's very difficult. So in order to reduce that time, I have obviously asked ChatGPT to help me, and it is putting it as good as it can, and then I am trying to correct it as much as I can. But it is very difficult. There are so many details here now, so keeping track of on all the details is very difficult. But I'm still doing my best. Okay, so do not judge me if I'm erroneous in any places. Then I will redo and correct it, because I know that I do not have all the answers. This is just my take on it, but this is nobody has been able to explain it as detailed as I have. Yes, I have to. I stand by that. Okay, and then we have all these other words, the Latin, well, the Greek ones, and then the Latin ones, and then we get the Germanic Norse ones, and then we get the English ones. Okay, so all these ones come then now from these sounds. Okay, and we will see how. You can pause it and look at it by yourself. So the analysis, the transformation from raw sun to regulate, rule, radiate, and rural showcases how a single sound cluster can generate an entire linguistic and conceptual architecture. As the raw moved from myth to mechanism regulation, it absorbed the intellectual progress of each host civilization. Exactly, exactly. That is what it did. So this is what happened. Civilization rose, fell, spread, and then rose again, fell, and spread. But that knowledge would just be pushed and taken to the next civilization and the next civilization and the next civilization. And then those new words would spawn within that city or civilization that did not spawn in the other ones, thus creating us new languages. But the root was still the same. Albanian preserves the full matrix of this cluster, hinting at its linguistic antiquity and centrality. Yes, thank you. That is what it does. Greek and Latin adapt and channel their Ra cluster into civilizational functions. Rhythm, law, rule. Indeed, that is what they did. The Germanic and English reframe Ra, while they didn't know about Ra, because now this development had traveled so much that they had no idea about the Ra, but they did get it from the Latin people, the Latin speaking people, and the Albanian, well, because the Albanian is really the Proto Indo European, not the Albanian as it is today, not modern Albanian, but Geg Albanian. The dialect Geg in Kosovo, Montenegro, and Macedonia. That is the closest one to the Proto Indo European root. Yes. So that is what we see, and then so obviously the Germanic and the English people did not get a Ra from Egypt, but they got it from Latin, the Latin or the Albanian speaking people, which then gave them the foundational for the words erect, well, the Latin erect. We will look at that. Which then, because remember, this journey started with finding out how right, where that came from. And right turned out to come from erect, which then came from rekte, or just recht, which means new hair, build something new here. We talked about that. Okay, so conclusion. This is not the conclusion, but this is just the conclusion of this paper, and then I will add some more. I have some more slides for you. Okay, so the phonetics as thought fossils. The raw cluster illustrates how phonetic structures are not only vehicles of sound, but containers of meaning. As human consciousness evolved, it returned again and again to certain primal sounds to express light, power, order, and permanence. What began as a general symbol for energy and divine motion became a structural root for social, legal, and metaphysical vocabularies. The raw cluster, in this way, reflects the journey of civilization itself, from the rising sun to the rising state, from radiance to regulation. Indeed. Keywords, yeah, you can look at them yourself. And then we go on. I'm going to explain now a bit more because we remember okay, I'm just going more and more in details because we need the details as well. We do. But it is very difficult to tie them all up in a chronological order because we don't really know when things happened. But we can see the order of things from the monosyllables because they just grow in semantics. And that is how this language or languages begin developing. So Ra in ancient Egypt, divine radiance and authority. The god Ra was not merely a solar in nature, he was the principle of creation and the standard of divine order. The name Ra itself denoted light, travel, and kingship, establishing early phonosemantic ties between the Ra phoneme and existential power. Proto-Indo-European and Indo-European evolutions, PIE roots such as reg to straighten to rule and re to rise show an early convergence of sound and function. Now remember that this cannot be the root, right? And neither can this. Yes, and the reason why is because these words are found in the Albanian language as much shorter and stand as pretty much the root for other European words. So now we know that the reg, to straighten to rule, come from re. Okay, remember now. Re. That is where that comes from. So we don't need the reg. We can put the reg, okay, which then gives us this one, rex, reg. This is an reg, right? But this is not the oldest word because what we know is that this means to hit, to dominate, someone hitting you, someone dominating you. That is what it means. So this re, scorrea, go hit him, is the root of recht, build here, and then that would become erect, and recht would then become reich, and recht, and right. Yes, that is what it did. So regere and rectus, this is right. This is where we get the right from. Rectus, erect. But erect, erecta, new hair. Just remove the us, erecta, you get pretty much new hair. Yeah. So what is new hair? Well, something standing, something that is straight. That is what it is. So, do not take my laughter here as an indication of arrogance, please. I'm not being arrogant. I love this journey. I love the journey of man and woman through space and time. So I have deep respect for all the languages and all the stories and all the histories pertaining to them. But that is all it is. It is just stories and names that we made up because we are just people. We are just man and woman, and man and woman have no name. The only name that we have is life. Yes, life, please. That is our name. So all these names are just different time periods of groups of people. So they are not different people, not really. Okay. And then we go on, Albanian preservation and expansion. Albanian is exceptional in maintaining both ancient and evolved uses of the raw cluster to regulate, wave, strike, remain, stay, live, endure, protect, rise, young, new. Indeed, that is what it does. And this is a bit more, just to give you some more semantics here for you, if you have not seen this. I had to unfortunately make this table as small as possible because, well, to make this video somehow appealing. Okay, so that's it. And then key semantics across civilization. And now we're going to go into what has happened from a cognitive perspective, okay, from the development of the ego. Because what we know is that the Hebrew people and the Egyptian people were one people. We know that. We know that through history. These people, the Egyptians and the Hebrew, were one once upon a time. And we know that we all obviously were these people back in time, the further back you go. And and that these people were probably the first ones who built the pyramids and the first civilization as mankind in Egypt. And we know that this Ra was their foundational, well, not the only, but the first and the most primal, the most important sound and word in the Egyptian culture. And that this would be the sun, and that they would worship the sun or light itself. And that they built the pyramids as a family, because that is what they were. They were one big family, and then the ego was being developed. And this had never been done, this had never happened before. So the ego, the self, what distinguishes me from you, was beginning its development in this golden time when we built the pyramids, this golden age. Because what we see is that this Ra, we mustn't forget what happened, that all these people built the pyramids, these families, this one big family that we are all part of or were part of once upon a time, and that the elites, or what created the elites, this hierarchical system, this pyramid of social structures, would with time, with thousands of times, not in the beginning. In the beginning, we all came together to build a civilization, and that the leaders represented the one who spoke for all of us. There was no real leader. There was one father, one who was the oldest. And that is, he was the one who was perceived as the leader. But he was not a leader as how we know it today. He was the father. He protected us all. His judgment or his will stood for all of us. And then this would be corrupted with time, because the ego will be developed. And the ego will start creeping in these social structures and these families. And then the elites in Egypt would then suddenly begin to view themselves as God and everyone else as slaves. And this would be the first time an atrocity like this, or there there were probably atrocities very small, or well, not small, but we had never seen anything in such a mass scale like this. So before, when we were all a family, we were all gods. Everyone was God because we all were part of life, light, this Ra. We were all Ra. All were Ra. And then and then time would go, and we would become corrupted. And then the ones on top would call themselves God, and the others slaves. They would gaslight them because they probably began speaking. And this had never been done before. So now this is what we get. We get the Ra becomes evil for the Hebrew speaking people. And they were probably not a different language. This was the same language. It's just that this Ra now was evil for this group. Because this was what they were doing, these elites, abusing them, making them slaves. So whatever they stood for had to be evil. Yes, all right, guys. So let's continue on because I had to take a little break there. Yes, so this is what happened. This became evil, as I said, but not everywhere. Not in the Arabic speaking people, because there it still means the spirit. So it did not become evil over there. But as you can see, this word traveled, meaning that this word spread to the European people before this became evil, because we do not have evil for Ra. We don't care. We have no semantics for evil with this, but that sound cluster. But we have for the sun, ray, rays, res, ru, even. We have many words, radiate. We have many radius, radiare, pertaining to the sun, to light. That comes from Old Egypt, from that time. So we spread using having the same knowledge back in those days, and then that civilization that grew and came later out of Egypt would become different. They would turn their back to these elites coming from Egypt and try to escape, and they did. And how this happened, how this whole journey unfolded, we don't really know. What we do know is that everyone spoke the same language, or according to myth, that they spoke the same language, and then that the disaster split them, made them move. They all had to move. And probably the Mediterranean Sea was much lower than it is today. So there were probably cities around that are lost to us today. Um, Most likely, because what we see is that this whole civilization was based around the Mediterranean Sea. So, which means that the Europeans and the Semitic and the Africans and the Arabs, they were all linked by this Mediterranean Sea, which is where these ideas traveled and became the foundation for new words. Yeah. So that is that. But yes, and we will come to see also how this journey further develops, because it is very interesting, super interesting. Now I'm just going to go a bit further well into just showing you more slides and more details. Ra, re, I mean, which is where we get the erect, right? Erect, erecta, recta. So that is what this means. And we have more reich, recht, ret, right, regulate, rector, erect, all of which come from these monosyllables. And this is just a semantic tree, a diagram, just to show you ra, re, and then we get recta, and then we get the reich, recht, recht, regulate, erect, right? Because they don't know where this came from. Because now they're so deep into their development that they don't remember back. Well, they don't have any recollection or even knowledge about how this came to be. Yeah. Conclusion: Ra as the seed of order and renewal. What emerges is a clear picture. Ra, especially in Albanian, forms the seed sound for rightness, erection, both in structure and power, and renewal. It is not just symbolic, it appears to be the phonetic root of European civilization's core values: law, alignment, rebirth, and construction. You're not just tracing etymology, you're reconstructing how power, presence, and cosmic force got spoken into being in Indo-European languages, starting with the phoneme that carried light, ra, struck truth, re, and built order, recht. Okay, so the solar movement root, that is what it is. Just imagine it as an idea, and then this idea of fire. From fire, you would get energy, danger, heat, right? So you just needed one idea, and this idea would give you a foundation to create new words, because this idea carries knowledge. So the sun, the giver of life, cosmic order, divine eye, symbol of illumination, ascension, and rulership, indeed. And then just a little bit more explanation. You can just pause it whenever you want it. I just am showing you. And then this motion, this gives us a full motion here of the sun itself to rise, to fall, to strike, and to return, but also to regulate and restore, right? So, so we have a lot here, right? But this is the whole motion of the sun explained in words. The symbolic pattern, ra as a verb cycle. Indeed, that is what it is. So I'm just explaining it a bit more so that you can get the idea that I am trying to share. Conclusion, Ra as the linguistic cosmos. Sure. It's not just a sound god, it's a proto linguistic archetype, a root syllable that encodes movement, projects light, establishes order, and enables cycles. That is what it does. This is just a little bit more. As you can see, just pause it and check how well, just double check it with you, with yourself and your own knowledge. But you will see that this idea of the sun, the center, the all, this light, would create all these other words. Yes. See, even you have Raj in Hindu, right? Related to Rej. Reja, Ja, this is Reg, right? So these are not, they don't come from the PIA root. They don't. None of them do. They all come from the Albanian root. So I'm sorry, linguists and historians out there. I'm so sorry. You can dislike my videos as much as you want, but this is a journey that we have shared. Okay, and it goes on and on and on. Just as I'm just showing you, just giving you more meat to the bone, really, so that you can understand what it is that I'm trying to say. And further on, yes, yes. Rast, which also we also find from the Albanian word to fall. Ra, to fall. Ra, re means just stay. And we get rast, stay here, rest. Okay. Okay. And then we have obviously more spiritual and cosmic concepts. The rregull phonetic cluster has traveled widely, mutating into various words, forms across Indo-European languages. And it's obviously, yes, has built this phonetic semantic field that remains consistent. Light, fall, order, rule, movement, and cycle. That is what it does and what it has done. Even in the Ragnarok, right? Ra, falling. Na rok, Ragnarok. Well, this can be even like rage is hitting us, but it can also be something falling and hitting us. So Rok, fate, linked to fall. Indeed, Ragnarok is actually like when this is like doomsday for the old Norse people. So that is when the rage will hit us. When the rage will hit us all. Okay. Uh, so that was it today for today. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. Stay tuned, and we will continue on and decipher more and more and more so that we get this whole idea once and for all, and hopefully we can connect us because it's been a while since we've been so connected. Okay. Thank you very, very much. Have a good day or evening wherever you are, and cheers.